Hello, and welcome to another episode of Around the World with Father Joe. I'm Father Joe Gambala, pastor of St. Malachy Catholic Church, and today I'm going to tell you about my trip to Uruguay. Uruguay is a country in South America between Brazil and Argentina. This trip took place a couple of years ago. It was part of a cruise I went on to sail all the way around the south of South America. I began in Paraguay and then went to Buenos Aires, and then from Buenos Aires, I boarded the Norwegian Cruise Line ship. And our first stop was Montevideo, the capital of Uruguay. Well, there were a lot of buses making many different tours. I went on the city tour, and I boarded the bus, and our guide was a lady about in her 40s, and she was filled with information about the city. It was a Sunday, and we were driving around the city, and there weren't many cars out because it was Sunday, but this particular lady had certain views about God and the faith. She said that while she was baptized a Catholic, and she freely offered this information, no one asked her, that she had been baptized a Catholic, but like so many people in Montevideo and Uruguay, they don't practice the faith. And every time we passed the church, she would point out how empty the parking lots were. She would say, you see, not many people go to Mass anymore. There's only a few cars in that lot there. And then we passed another church. And she always make a point to point that out. But what we were noticing along the way were a lot of people sleeping on benches and sleeping on the lawns and things like that. So one of the persons in the bus asked, well, do you have a lot of homeless people here in Montevideo? And she says, not really. And they said, well, who are all these people we see lying around? Because this is a Sunday morning, sleeping on the lawns and on benches and on the sidewalks. She says, oh, well, they're probably drug addicts. We have a lot of addiction here, and it's a sad problem. And we're trying to do something about it. And it got me to thinking, very few people going to church, a lot of people having addictions. And it got me to think, well, there is a connection there because we are spiritual beings, whether we want to recognize it or not. And we need God's love in our life, whether we recognize it or not. And the sooner we recognize it, the better off we're going to be, because when we don't recognize it, there's going to be an emptiness in our life, and we're going to try to fill it. What we need to fill it with is God's love. But if we don't have a belief in God, or we have problems that keep us from accepting that, then we try to fill it with other things. Some of those things can be overworking. Some of those things can be eating too much. Some of those things can, of course, be alcohol or some illegal drug. It would be like if doctor said, you have a vitamin C deficiency. You should go to the drugstore and buy a bottle of vitamin C and take one every day. And you decide to go to the drugstore, but you realize that vitamin B is a lot cheaper. So you buy a bottle of vitamin B. Well, you might get the benefits of vitamin B, but it's not going to solve your problem with a vitamin C deficiency. And unfortunately for many people, they try to fill the emptiness in their life with the things that the world offers. But nothing in this world can fill the emptiness that we have, because that emptiness can only be filled by the loving presence of our Savior, Jesus Christ.